经典演说篇第155集回顾98到101集，也就是老布希总统就职演说因为比较长，分上下两部分因为前面意思都讲过，我们这边只是念一下重新温习一下，顺便练练发音。My Chief Justice, Mr. President, Vice President Quell, Senator Mitchell, Speaker Wright, Senator Dorr, Congressman Michael, and fellow citizens, neighbors, and friends. This is a man here who has earned a lasting place in our hearts and in our history. President Reagan, on behalf of our nation, I thank you for the wonderful things that you have done for America. I've just repeated word for word the oath taken by George Washington 20 years ago. And the Bible in which I place my hand is the Bible in which he placed his. It is right that the memory of Washington be with us today, not only because this is our bicentennial inauguration, but because Washington remains the father of our country. And who would I think be gladdened by this day? For today is the concrete expression of a stunning fact. Our continuity, there's 200 years since our government began. We meet on democracy's front porch, a good place to talk as neighbors and as friends. For this is a day when our nation is made whole, when our differences for a moment are suspended. And my first act as president is a prayer. I ask you to bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we bow our heads and thank you for your love. Accept our thanks for the peace that yields this day and the shelter of faith that makes it continuous likely. Make us strong to do your work, willing to heed and hear your will. And write on our hearts these words, use power to help people. For we are given power not to advance our own purposes, nor to make a greater shout in the world, nor a name. There is but one just use of power, and it is to serve people. Help us to remember it, Lord. Amen. I come before you and assume the presidency at a moment rich with promise. We live in a peaceful, prosperous time, but we can make it better. For a new breeze is blowing, and the world refreshed by freedom seems reborn. For the man's heart, if not in fact the day of the dictator is over. The totalitarian era is passing. Its own ideas blown away like leaves from the ancient lifeless tree. A new breeze is blowing. A nation refreshed by freedom stands ready to push on. There is new ground to be broken and new action to be taken. There are times when the future seems as thick as a fog. You sit and wait, hoping the mist will lift and reveal the right path. But this is a time when the future seems a door you can walk right through into a room called tomorrow. Great nations of the world are moving toward democracy through the door of freedom. Men and women of the world move toward free markets through the door to prosperity. The people of the world agitate for free expression and free thought through the door to the moral and intellectual satisfactions that only liberty allows. We know what works. Freedom works. We know what's right. Freedom is right. We know how to secure a more just and prosperous life for man on earth. Through free markets, free speech, free elections, and the exercise of free will unhampered by the state. For the first time in this century, for the first time in perhaps our history, man does not have to invent a system by which to live. We don't have to talk late into the night about which form of government is better. We don't have to wrest justice from the kings. We only have to summon it from within ourselves. We must act on what we know. I take as my guide the hope of assent in crucial things, unity, in important things, diversity, in all things, generosity. America today is a proud and free nation, decent and civil, a place we cannot help but love. We know in our hearts, not loudly and proudly, but as a simple fact, that this country has meaning beyond what we see, and that our strength is a force for good. But have we changed as a nation, even in our time? Are we enthralled with material things, less appreciative of the nobility of work and sacrifice? My friends, we are not the sum of our possessions. They are not the measure of our lives. In our hearts we know what matters. We cannot hope only to leave our children a bigger car, a big bank account. We must hope to give them a sense of what it means to be a loyal friend, a loving parent, a citizen who leaves his home, his neighborhood, and town better than he found it. What do we want the men and women who work with us to say when we are no longer there? That we were more driven to succeed than anyone around us. No president, no government can teach us to remember what is best and what we are. But if the man you have chosen to lead his government can help make a difference, if he can celebrate a quieter, deeper success that are made not of gold and silk, but of better hearts and finer souls, if he can do the things, then he must. America is never holding herself unless she is engaged in high moral principle. We as a people have such a purpose today. It is to make a kinder the face of the nation and gentler the face of the world. My friends, we have work to do. They are the homeless, lost, and roaming. They are the children who have nothing, no love, no normalcy. There are those who cannot free themselves of enslavement to whatever addiction, drugs, welfare, the demoralization that rules the slums. There's crime to be conquered, the rough crime of the streets. There are young women to be helped who are about to become mothers of children they can't care for and might not love. They need our care, our guidance, and our education, though we bless them for choosing life. The old solution, the old way, was to think that public money alone could end these problems, but we have learned what is not so. In the case of funds are low, we have a deficit to bring down. We have more will than wallet, but will is what we need. We'll make the hard choices looking at what we have and perhaps allocating it differently, making our decisions based on honest need and prudent safety. And then we will do the wisest thing of all. We will turn to the only resource we have that in times of need always grows, the goodness and the courage of the American people. 我们上集回顾到这里。